Whether you are embracing the tech or worried about the future, AI is now a fundamental part of the creative conversation. Today, as we continue the AI revolution, we're joined by Giles Christopher to discuss the ethical AI middle ground, how mixed reality can enhance your creative photography and help you stay relevant in a market that demands quality and speed.
Welcome to Commercial Photographer, your guide to marketing, creativity, and growth. This is a podcast that helps commercial, brand, and headshot photographers navigate the competitive world of commercial photography with actionable strategies to grow your business.
Hello, Marcus. How are you doing?
I am very well, thank you, Sam. How are you?
Excellent, and looking forward to chatting to today's guest, another guest as part of our AI series, and a returning guest as well. Giles Christopher, welcome back to the show.
Hi there, Sam and Marcus. Lovely to be back.
Hello, Giles.
Always lovely seeing friendly faces.
Yes, thank you for coming back. Coming up on the next episode of the AI Revolution, we're tackling the creative conflict. While many are pushing for a return to 100% authenticity in 2026, Giles Christopher argues that the real opportunity lies in mixed reality, keeping the product real but using AI to build the environment. We'll be discussing how to use advanced nodal-based software to bridge the gap between initial concepts and final high-end storyboards. We'll be exploring why AI is making complex lighting and physics accessible to every commercial photography studio, and how to monetize these new digital assets. Plus, we look at the authenticity hack, how to show the behind-the-scenes process is becoming the ultimate proof that your work is genuine in an AI-saturated world. And so, for the AI show, we've had a few different discussions about business and practicalities, but now we're going to get into key photography area, creativity and AI, which Giles, something you've talked about a little bit before in the show, and something I understand you're using AI an awful lot in your creative processes.
Yes, it's happening a lot more. Clients are requesting it, and I feel there is two sides to the AI at the moment. There's a lot of creatives, and I totally get it and understand it. They're saying, AI's taking information and using stuff, but also on the other, and they're very much at the moment in 2026. I feel like the vibe from a lot of creatives is saying, keep it authentic for 2026, make yourself real, go, step away for AI. But on the other hand, I'm getting clients saying to me, you can do AI. Can you do more AI for us? What can you do? And I think it's finding that narrow channel where I've got a foot in both camps. I totally agree with it and love it, but I'm really against it for the worry of the future. Trying to carve this road of what I call, in my head, ethical AI. It's my interpretation of it. My ethical AI is to shoot real products, but enhance them with AI. Okay. And that's becoming very successful, and lots of clients are asking for it.
So that's when you say the clients are asking for AI, that's what they're asking for. They're like, can you take this product and put it in the middle of the desert without us having the cost of going to the desert?
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly it. And also, it's budgetary. And also we're going through a time where everybody copies everybody else, isn't it? It's especially with the social media. So-and-so's doing this, and they're being really successful with that campaign with AI, so we should do that. And I get a lot of clients coming to us and saying, we need to do something like this. And I was taught when I was an assistant, if someone comes with a brief, look at it quickly and then think about it, and then over a couple of weeks or a couple of days you start to then interpret your own style of that. And that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm finding it very hard to get the clients into my head when I've got these ideas, but again, that's where AI is stepping in, because we've got to shoot a couple of weeks time, and I've done the whole storyboard and ideas on AI, so that's another twist in it, which has become very helpful. Sent it off to the client. It took me about an hour.
You've covered a lot of ground there, Giles, already. So let me just go back into some of the points you've made. First of all, the way you're embracing AI, I've noticed that you've got it on your website.
Yes, and I'm very clear to make that hybrid AI, or call it mixed reality, where you're as I said, most of the product is real. We're just enhancing backgrounds, items around it, because I want the client to be able to stand there proudly and say, no, it is our product. It is our hamburger. It is our drink. It is our bottle of scotch. But yes, it has been enhanced. Yeah. I'm using it for a concept form, trying to get into clients' heads. No more different than I used to do Pinterests and mood boards and things. But I'm using AI to come up with the ideas, obviously making sure it's ideas that I can actually carry through. Nothing too unrealistic. But then as I said, we're using a virtual screen in our studio. I'm using that less because I'm using more AI to create that surroundings, if you like.
Yeah, doing it before with a green screen or layers in Photoshop, it's just really the speed.
It is. And I think this is where the positive thing is. I think CGI has always been that slightly out of reach for so many photographers because it is a highly computational type of learning and you have to learn all kinds of physics. And I'm thinking AI is taking away that a little bit. It's making it a little bit more accessible, which I think people need to embrace. Yes, it's not going to be cinema quality. You have to look at that point of view. I think if you're looking at the top end advertising, that has to be real. That has to be done as much in camera and the old fashioned retouching skills. But if you're doing it I see our photography it's commercial, but it's very seasonal. We're doing a lot of menu to restaurants, drinks brands as well that have a seasonal offering for advertising. Then we're doing that. But then in a couple of months' time, that's different. So we can't go to the heavy budget advertising shoots, but we can suddenly give something in between, which is not going to go high quality. No, I don't think it's going to go billboard quality, but saying that, I've seen some billboards from AI. But I think it's a path in the middle, which up for grabs with a lot of photographers.
You were talking about AI helping with ideas. Are you saying that when you come up with a shoot, you come up with the ideas and you're using AI to visualize those ideas, or you're using AI for the ideas themselves?
A bit of both. Well, I've started to use this nodal-based AI, which is a little bit, if anybody's used to DaVinci Resolve, then it's kind of you're building nodes of different things, so you can put elements in. I'm using that for sketches. I can sketch a really poor stickman storyboard, put it into AI, and it will create a scene based on that. So we were doing this advertising shoot for a large education facility a couple of weeks' time, and they wanted everything to be the teachers to be quite low, and the tutors to be quite low with the kids, not looking down on them like the old-fashioned way. So it's got to be on their level. So I've sketched all these things in stickman drawings and put them up on AI, recreate the scenes, tell them what I wanted to create, and it's almost created pretty much what I want. Sent it off to the client. They went, love that shot, that's perfect. We can do another one like that, would be great. And it's fantastic, from that point of view, from concepts. And then if I'm really struggling with ideas, and I don't think there's any excuse now for blinking cursors going, what should I write or what should I do? Because if you just put a seed of an idea in and let AI see what it can come up with, it's scraping the internet from everybody's images, but it's coming up with a concept that you go, okay, I can work on this. I've done a couple of shoots where I've gone really struggling with this. We had to do a medical diabetes machine not so long ago for an advertising shoot. And again, how do you photograph that in a lifestyle setting? So I put that idea in, and it came back with some, slightly rudimental ideas, but something I could work on and go, that's actually quite a good idea.
Yeah, there are some topics out there which are a bit tedious. I was doing a website for a Tyler or something. There were some times where you got, I need some inspiration because there's a limit.
Yeah. Let's get into the nuts and bolts, Giles. What software are you using?
I was started on Mid-Journey. That was 5 years ago.
I've
always been one of those people, if something's new coming out and everybody's running away from it, I want to say what they're running from. And I look, and I go, okay, well, I need to know the enemy. And that initially, and I think when we had our last chat, it was very much, I need to know the enemy. I need to know how it works. But partly because I can't criticize things unless you know how they work and what issues are. And then over the years, Mid-Journey's gone in. I've tried so many different models. I'm now using one called Weavy. I tried Comfy AI, which is a nodal-based AI, but the steep learning curve. It's a little bit like learning After Effects.
So are these all completely independent, or do these plug into software like Photoshop and things?
No. These are generative AI. These are generative AI software. So, I mean, the run-of-the-mill ones are the Higgs fields and the free picks, and these buy into the whole AI systems like Google and Kling and all that. They all work under that. But the beauty of nodal-based AI, as I said, you can put ingredients into it. So I could put a picture of you, I could put your microphone in another photograph, and I could put Marcus's orange top in another photograph, and I can code them into each other. So you basically draw a line like a spreadsheet, and you just put the nodes together, and then you put a final prompt in, and then you pretty much get what you want. Then you can change the lighting. These AI are generative AI software, and obviously then you get down the route of the chat GPTs and the 11 labs and all the voice synthesizing stuff. There's so many different ways you can go. But yeah, generally I'm using partly free pick, which they have a thing called Spaces, which is a node-based AI. I'm using Weavy and a bit of Mid-Journey and Nano Banana Google Nano Banana Pro through Gemini that way.
Wow, you're using 3 or 4 pieces of software. Was there much of a learning curve to that, Giles?
I get up very early. I sleep well. Everybody goes, God, do you ever sleep? I get up very early, and I always use the first 2 hours of the day, mostly when I'm not working, just to learn. It's quiet. I can sit there with a cup of tea and the dogs, and I can just do research and development time, I call it. And it's usually about 2 hours. And then I go, do you know what? And also I'm always one of those people that goes to bed thinking, what can I do in the morning?
We were talking just last week about completely different stuff, automating some of your office tasks, and the fact that when you use a lot of these AI models, you've got to do a lot of learning. Is it the same with the tools you're using? Do they take quite a lot to kind of training, as it were, and then they remember what you like, or is it quite different?
I think the more you pay for them, the free service, they dump you out or give you very generic. When you start paying more for them, you're paying the £35-45 a month for them, you start getting a little bit more of a training model. That's their upsell. So I think it's the same with ChatGPT. I think if you pay for it, you get to know you a little bit more.
For our listeners who want to start dipping their toe into this nodal system, Giles, which software do you think is a good place to start?
Probably Free Pick is one that someone put me onto, which I thought it sounds a bit low budget, but actually it's not. It's very capable, and it's a competitor to one called Higgsfield as well. Higgsfield's another one, and Higgsfield, interestingly, I'm actually going to look at it. I may do a monthly subscription on that, because they do this whole cinema AI now, where you can put your camera, your lens in, and you can start to create depth of fields, and you can do all kinds of things, which is quite interesting. That's only just come out, so that's going to be something to watch.
And it's lens specific to manufacturer's lens. It's got the algorithm.
At the moment, I think it's just cinema cameras, but you can choose a Panavision or an Arriflex, and you can choose a Cooke zoom, or you can choose a Fujinon zoom, or a Zeiss Prime lens, and it will give you how accurate it is to the look. I mean, maybe I should know more than others, having come from that world, but I think unless you put them up next to each other, you're going to say, someone's trained this, or it's trained itself, so it's going to be pretty accurate, I think.
Yeah.
Well, Lightroom or Capture One or whatever does that anyway, but even so, that's still quite amazing.
And I think that's the other thing with AI. I think everybody's sort of hands in the air running away from AI, but I mean, people have been using it for years. I think AI's programmed robots that make cars, 20 or so years ago. And I'm thinking we're now looking at advantages for AI, and there's a lot of stuff in software people don't even realize they're using. I mean, as you say, the masks in Capture One are unbelievable, and that's all AI masking. Photoshop's now got Nano Banana and got some Firefly built into it. Again, it's great until you zoom in on it, and then you zoom in on the images and you go, oh, I can see where the AI's added a fantastic job, but it's slightly out of focus and the grains don't match. That's only going to get better. And again, I think if you pay more, you get better quality.
Because we've been talking about creativity, just want to mention our free download, because we have our free download about marketing and creativity. You can get that very easily. You go to our website, which is commercial-photographer-podcast/creativity, or just go straight to the website and press the button. Either way, and you can download the free download, all about marketing and creativity, which is what the show is all about.
I mean, it's interesting link to your advert there is that I'm using ChatGPT for the marketing purposes. So I use Squarespace as a web platform, for instance, and I've got it to write a whole new load of code to separate some of the words and spacing. And I just write in a CSS code that I can put into Squarespace to allow me to separate the lines a little bit more. Grade me the code, put it into 10 minutes later, it's done the job. I also did one the other day where...
the code writing it can do is amazing nowadays. I literally, just before I got on the call, I've been on there for an hour writing code with it, and it's stunning what it can do.
But you must see it as a benefit to your role more than a threat at the moment if you know how to use it.
Oh, yeah.
And interestingly...
we can customize things much more than we used to be able to at a much better price.
Definitely. And it goes back to the people that are driving it. If you put an item into any of the generative AIs and you don't give it any specific terms, you're going to get something quite random, and it may not be right. And a couple of people have messaged me and said, "Oh, would you teach me how to do it?" And I was like, I have to, but you kind of have to know from the heart creativity. You have to know the photographic terms. You have to do this. You have to do that, and then you get a much more molded thing. Same with the web design and things. If you know what the terminology is and what the code you need to create, it's capable of a hell of a lot of things. But I'm also using it for spying on competitors as well. Compare my keywords with another website, and it will do that. I've started to do that, which is quite an interesting thing. So those metrics.
You've really, really embraced it there, Giles, haven't you? You're just talking then about the quality of the images. Is that anything to do because it's scraping the information?
I think that's something that's changing. And again, it's a paid tier thing. I think up until probably this last year, if you did a generation, it would be a lower quality. It would be fine for a website. If you're printing it, and I've done a couple of test prints, you do start to see furry edges. And I think that's all they're prepared to give you for the free model. I notice now you're starting to get 2K and 4K images. So you are I think you could probably get a pretty much a nice A2 print out of it, maybe even bigger if you've got a bit of printing skills. And I think we were up in London the other day, and up at Old Street they had a big hoarding, and all their advertising hoarding was all done on AI. I think it was an advert for one of the AI companies, and you just think that was incredible. But again, as you know, with the digital resolutions is projected to 72 dpi, so therefore you can get away with a lot more. But I think if you're printed large, you would definitely see the flaws.
Yeah. If we go back to how you're using AI, you were talking about what use it for, and so once you've got ideas, use it to help with ideas or show your clients the ideas.
It's trying to stay relevant more than anything from my point of view, and there's a lot of influencers that are taking a lot of work from photographers. So I don't want to stoop to sort of working for a very low rate or working just for my lunch. I want to give that a little bit more. One client that we worked with for 17 years, they are desperate for content. I mean, this is what we're at in the world with photography. People want quantity rather almost more than over quality. So I'm trying to give them quality and trying to give them quantity, but making it look polished and lovely. And yes, I mean, some of them look AI, they love them, and that's what they want. But yeah, it's really it's polishing off images. I mean, it's just extending as well. I mean, just extending an image. Sometimes they come back to me and say, we should have shot all those in landscape. And you think, okay, well, I just need, and with Photoshop, you used to be able to do the generative fill at the side. Now that's a lot more accurate. That's actually, because you used to do generative fill and the edge of a bush or the edge of a table start to get distorted. Now it's looking real.
So you're almost extending one shoot as well. So because they're wanting lots of content, you can do one shoot, but actually from that, give them an awful lot of content they can kind of use for their social posts and so on.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid, I mean, it's the bane of a lot of photographers on shoots, isn't it? You're having to shoot landscape, portrait, letterbox,
it's part of the job.
And when you're doing food, that's quite critical, because you then have to remake everything 3 or 4 times sometimes, especially with ice creams and desserts and stuff. Cocktails the same. So it's trying to, and of course everybody wants that shallow focus look, which, as you know, when you go wider to get everything in, I tried shooting medium format and shooting wider and then cropping it, but you still don't get the same look. So you do have to shoot at different formats sometimes. This is allowing me to actually, if I get the shot once, I'll try and get it in landscape or portrait. But sometimes I go, do you know what? I can extend this, and it's absolutely fine, and no one's ever complained yet.
Cropping to a frame, or your negative rebate, just like in the old 50s and 60s with Cartier-Bresson. Those days are well over, aren't they? Really, you have to shoot wide. If anything, you have to shoot a lot wider these days so they can crop.
And my father-in-law was a commercial photographer in the 70s and 80s, and he said that there was just one format. It was just magazine. It was 4x3 or 5. So it was that format. And now he said, I don't know how you cope with all these formats, but he said you would spend all day getting the one shot right, and then you shoot it on film. A few Polaroids would be pinned to a wall, and you make some notes. And I vaguely remember those days when I was an assistant. It was attention to detail, and it was a collaborative effort. Now it's very much like, you can fix this afterwards. I mean, only a client yesterday said to me, you can fix this in AI, can't you, Giles? And I said, you'll have to show me how. I'm a little bit militant with that. So you have to show me how to do that then, just to keep them in check that it's not as easy as you think. I mean, it is time. I mean, like all these things, you have to get, it's monetizing it is the hardest thing we're finding at the moment, because they just think, like digital photography, it's free.
Exactly. That's the big problem, isn't it?
So they're not appreciating that there's a lot of work. So they think it's AI. They're presuming you're sat there and you go, and it's done, rather than actually it's an awful lot of time getting it right and doing it.
And the complex things can take 7, 10, 12 generations to actually get it what you want. And I mean, that uses up all your credits. And a lot of these systems work on a credit basis. They have ridiculous credits. Like they're like Italian lira, like you give them 20,000 credits and extending one picture is like 500 credits. I don't know how they work all that out. But some of the more expensive, that's the other thing to look at with these AI softwares, is some are more expensive than others. At the moment, Freepik are offering an unlimited Nano Banana and Google, and I think they're doing a Kling as well. They're unlimited on their certain modules. So you have to keep an eye on that. And that, of course, you're paying £25 or £35 a month, then you're getting free unlimited usage of that, which is great. Video is slightly different. They'd always charge for that. Everybody thinks AI is AI, but some are more expensive than others.
Yeah, and what we're talking about in the other show is it's very easy to end up with like 15 different subscriptions all of a sudden.
Well, that's what I've got,
I'll try that one and I'll try that one. And you just got to be careful to go which ones there are really, and try them, try different ones. But the credits sound good, because you can always give those a try, buy a few credits, and then, work out where to go next if you like it or not.
A lot of them have a free one, which is really frustrating, because by the time you just get used to it and you're just getting the hang of it, then it kicks into a pay mode. But I would say, I think the laws now, they let you pretty much stop it. You might have to pay 1 or 2 months, don't they? But I think it's worth it. I mean, I think we were on 4 subscriptions at the moment we pay for. So it's probably £120 a month, I reckon, we're paying for all of them. But I can pretty much create, and I haven't run out of credits on any of them yet, but as soon as you get to that £25 mark, you start to not too worried about it. It's a bit like an electric car. You always have that range anxiety. I think when you're on the cheaper ones, you think, and you're using it commercially, you just go, oh, I'm going to have to pay for this at some point. But again, it goes back to monetizing it. And I think we're looking at, my partner and I, looking into doing some kind of digital asset charge on top of the
back
invoice.
Some of the money that you're losing, as you say, because it's digital. I mean,
it's
a brave new world, certainly, and you've embraced it. Really, so up to date. Really great to hear. Where do you think it's going to go, Giles?
I try and be positive about it because I've got to be positive about it for my clients and my livelihood. Because if you look at the history of, back to the Industrial Revolution, I guess, anything that's new tech is automatically the devil's work and everybody runs away from it. If you look at the internet, it's never gone back in the box. Digital photography has never gone back in the box, and AI is probably a bigger technical innovation than both of those. It's not going back. So we've got to learn to use it, embrace it. I think find a way of making it work for you. And I'm sure a lot of people have already. It's just commercializing that. My biggest concern for it is I've got quite a lot of friends with young school kids at school, and some of them are going off to secondary schools. The feeling I'm getting from them, which is an interesting topic that keeps coming up, is that what are they going to be learning? Because if you do your options at school and you want to be an architect or you want to be a solicitor, is that job going to be there in 7 or 8 years' time? The trades, I mean, the internet says the trades that are safe are jobs that are safe for the trades.
It's not going to do your plumbing, is it?
Doctors, nurses.
You say that you can get decorating. I'm sure you can get your decorating done with a robot, aren't you, already? So
maybe. And someone sent me a picture of a machine building a brick wall the other day. I'd never seen that. That was incredible. But it's so yes, it's coming for everybody. But I think yes, the creative industry, and we sort of see how it can affect us. But a friend of mine works for a big coding company. They've laid off 30% of their staff. Another friend of ours is training to be a solicitor and was a notary at one of the big solicitor firms.
Yeah,
she's been laid off as well because.
And from what you're saying, really, I know photography is being deeply affected by it, but if you can stay ahead of the game and utilize it, and this is what this season's all about, the benefits of AI, if you can stay ahead of the game, we're not doing too bad because other jobs, other industries are being laid off.
Definitely. I mean, illustrators, I got another friend who used to illustrate books, and she's got another job now because she said I hadn't worked for 9 months. But another friend who works in an orchestra, and she said her job's changing because they're getting more and more called into recording studios just to do sampling.
Oh, okay.
So she'll sit in a booth for 3 days just playing a range of notes. With different breaths, and then that all goes into the machine. That's all samples.
You're using all this AI, so are you using that to differentiate yourself with clients in your marketing?
So I'm really pushing on the ethical side of it because I want the clients to be able to say it's their product. I don't want to fake anything. I think once you start faking stuff, then it's a race to the bottom, isn't it? And I think it's having those kudos. You want that kudos that you're still doing it properly. And I think I still want fundamentally good professional photography to be at the core of everything I do, and I'd love the industry to go that way as well. And another thing they're saying, jobs that will survive is artists. You wouldn't think that will be, but I'm guessing there's more of a resurgence to people wanting manual things, not computerized. And if you look at the internet, you see a lot of artists. I don't know whether your algorithm gets this, but I have a lot of artists painting stuff and showing the behind the scenes on how they do things.
Yeah, behind the scenes comes up again and again, doesn't it? As kind of that look, it's not AI,
and that authenticates. And I think that leads me into interesting thing I had. Tim Flack, the lovely animal, does the most amazing animal photography.
Beautiful work.
I had a lovely visit to his studio, and he took me around and showed me his latest book, Feline book.
Oh yeah,
which is incredible photographer. But he had a very clever thing he's doing, which I'm going to copy it and take it to myself, is he's doing behind the scenes videos of his shoots. Doesn't have to be high tech, doesn't have to be a production quality, but he's then putting it on his printed material in his book. If you buy his book, on the back of it, he's got QR codes. And you scan the QR code and it allows you to see behind and what it's doing is it's authenticating the work. And I think that's where we need to be clever.
That's it. And I've heard some photographers using that on social media too for exactly that reason, showing the process, showing they're part of it.
And I think that's going to make you genuine, but you can still then embrace the AI.
I think that's a very good note to end on.
Yeah, I mean it's a wild west still, and we're still only for the masses only 5 years in, aren't we really? Yeah. So how it's been going, but I think it's it's going to keep changing, get better and better, and we've just got to stay ahead of it and keep doing those early mornings like I do, and sort of learn how you can sort of make a route through it.
That has been really interesting, Giles. Thanks so much. Depth of your knowledge into the kind of creative process with AI and the way you've embraced it is a inspiration for many photographers.
I don't know about that. Just as I learn it moves on again. So you have to keep,
which is what you're doing every morning.
Giles's take on ethical AI is exactly the mindset we need to navigate 2026. My first takeaway was the mixed reality approach. By shooting the real product, be it a burger or a bottle, but then using AI to create high budget environments like a desert or specialised set, we can offer premium concepts on a seasonal budget. I was also struck how AI is removing the daunting barrier to CGI and physics-based learning. It makes those high-end advertising looks accessible to more photographers without needing a massive technical learning curve. And finally, the importance of behind the scenes. As clients start asking, can you fix this in AI? Showing our actual process through QR codes and social videos is what authenticates us as professionals. It's about being faster with AI, but keeping professional photography at the core.
And don't forget that you can get for free the Commercial Photographer Guide to Creativity and Marketing. After all, that's what this show is all about. To get your free download, all you need to do is go to our website at commercial-photographer-podcast.com/creativity. Let me do that one again. commercial-photographer-podcast.com/creativity. And from there, you can get your free guide from us to marketing and creativity. Thank you so much, Giles. And Marcus, as always, next week.
See you next week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Giles.
Pleasure, guys. Nice to see you.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. If you want to make sure you never miss a show, head to the website commercial-photographer-podcast.com and sign up to the newsletter. We'll be back next week with more practical advice to help you grow your business. See you next time.